Okay, Rabotai, the subject that we're going to speak tonight is Chanukah. What's so special about Chanukah? I'm going to start with the history. In the year 3625, 21 from the creation, since the Almighty created the world, okay, it was during the time of the Second Temple, okay. There is a coup that started in Eretz Israel in a city that called Modi'in. Modi'in is just before Jerusalem. It's between Tel Aviv. Modi'in is very close to Ben Gurion Airport. That's where the city. It was a coup that started, a matter of fact, by 17 men. It started by Matityahu Kohen Gadol. He was the higher priest. His son, him and his son, and another 5 members of the house of the Hashmonaim. Together there was 17. How's the coup started? Rabotai, the coup started, funny enough, by a woman, not by men. The coup started, Hazal tell us that it started by a woman. Her name was Yehudit. In Midrash, it said that her name was Hannah. Okay, she was the daughter of the higher priest, Matityahu. What happened? Hannah was supposed to marry one of the sons of the Hashmonaim. In their time, they used to marry family with another important family. They used to marry royal family to royal family, basically. And Hannah was supposed to get married the following night. But the night before, the parents came from both sides. The groom invited to the house of the bride, and they were sitting and talking regarding the wedding. While they was talking and everyone busy talking, the bride suddenly stood up and she clapped hands. When she clapped hands, everyone suddenly stopped talking, and obviously she wanted to say something, they was thinking. And when she took all the attention of all the visitors, that means her brother, her father, the in-laws, the brother-in-laws, she done a different action. She tear her clothes in the front of everyone. Imagine that. Just try to imagine that the bride doing something like that. The Kohen Gadol, the highly priest, and his son was embarrassed. Immediately they ran, they took a blanket to try to cover her. And they said to her, how can you embarrass us in public? And she said to him, I'm embarrassing you in public? Aren't you ashamed of what's happening in Eretz Israel, in the land of Eretz Israel? And they said to her, what do you mean? She said to her father and her brothers, listen to that. Tonight, I'm going to be taken to the mayor of the city to spend the night with him. For how long the Jewish people, the Jewish woman, going to be humiliated by that behavior? That before every wedding, a woman have to spend the night with the mayor. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you shy? Chazal tell us that those words that Hannah said to her father and her brother, penetrating to the heart of her brother, the father. The father was an old man that time, and he decided to do a different action. And he decided that he gonna do something completely different. What he done, he took his sword and he said, Mila Hashem Elai. He lifted up his sword and he said, who's for the Almighty gonna join me? And he engraved on his sword something very interesting. He engraved on his sword Mi kamocha ba'elim. Who's like you and a God? Who's like you, God? Chazal explained the acronym of those words is Maccabi. And that's where they come, the word Maccabim. Okay? And Matityahu took his son, that him and his son was 12. The Hashmonaim joined him, and there was all in all 17 men that Matityahu was the leader, let's call him the chief officer, the minister of defense. He was already an old man in that time, very old man. And he said, the first thing that we have to do is we're going to start in our city, the city that's called Modi'in. What they done. In every city in that time, they used to have an altar that the Greek Empire in that time was a pagan. And they used to bring sacrifice to sacrifice on the unmute. Everyone's still with us? Good. So what's happened? That the officer of that area that was in charge of the area, his name was Apollonius. Apollonius was in charge about the area of Samaria. Okay, and he decided that he's gonna put the end for that coup that started by Hashmonaim, the Maccabites, and he took his soldiers immediately and he came from Aram. Aram, that was the area in Syria. That was one of the headquarters, and he came towards the city of Modi'in. When he came to the city of Modi'in with his soldier, the Maccabite was ready for him, and they surprised them and they killed him. Sorry, they didn't kill him. They killed all of his soldiers, and he managed to escape. He managed to escape by the teeth of his skin, and he arrived in Antioch. Antioch was one of the main city or the capital city of the Greek, and he told that there is a coup happening in Eretz Israel. The officer in that time that was in charge, that was Antiochus. He was the great officer. He was the main Caesar there. And he decided when he heard that there's a coup in Eretz Israel, he decided that he's going to send 3 of his main chief commander, and there was Talmai, Nicanor, and Gurgiash. And with them, he sent 40,000 soldiers and 7,000 horse riders that joined him to try to stop the coup. And Talmai and Nicanor was decided that they're going to link together, while Gorgiash going to surprise the Maccabites coming through what's called Mutsaf Haron, Bet Haron. But at that time already, the Matityahu, the high priest, passed away because he was very old man, and his place been taken by son Judah Maccabee. And now Judah said to the Jewish people, listen, we're going to have a big war, and the Greek Empire not going to keep quiet. We're going to take on ourselves the day of fasting and praying to the Almighty, and tomorrow we're going to go and surprise the Greek army, the Greek Empire army. And that's what he done. And he decided that instead of attacking through the east, he's actually going to go from the west. He's going to come to Jerusalem, not through the east. That means he's going to come very surprisingly through Bet Haron. He's not going to come through the other side to Jerusalem. And that's what's happened. And he surprised Nicanor and Talmai, and he killed Nicanor and Talmai and all their soldiers. And meantime, Gorgias, that was thinking that Yehuda Maccabee is in Bet Haron, that means where's Bet Haron? Bet Haron, it's between Modi'in and Jerusalem, on a road that between Jerusalem to the airport. He decided that he's going to return back because Yehuda Maccabee is not there. And he didn't realize that Yehuda Maccabee already and his men already defeated his other two officers. So when he came to Jerusalem, he came through the main road. Yehuda Maccabee and his soldier that saw that ambushed them, and they killed him with all of his army. Gorgias managed to escape, the only one that managed to escape, and he spread everything out that what's happening. What's happening in Eretz Israel, there's a major coup, and they have to do something about it. Okay, once that they hear that there is a major coup, Antiochus himself couldn't accept that, and he decided that he's going to send his minister of descent, Lysias. That was his name, Lysias. He's going to send 60,000 soldiers, with him 5,000 horse riders, that they really what they call the commando unit of the Greek army to try to defeat the Hashmonaim. In the meantime, while those happening in Eretz Israel, they start to clear the land of Eretz Israel from all the idols. Not only that, all the weapon that they took, they brought different soldiers that joined the army of Yehuda Maccabee. Yehuda Maccabee with his own soldiers, okay, with a little weapon that they managed to, at the beginning that they start, later on, imagine after the defeated army of 40,000 soldiers and 7,000 horse riders, now they become quite a bit strong. They have like major people following him, a lot of Jewish people that saw them enjoy, and they're trying to watch victory. And he come and he decided that he's going to surprise Yehuda Maccabee. He's not going to come through the coastline like his friend. He's going to come through from Aram, that means from Syria. He's going to go down through Judaism, Judean desert, and he's going to surprise Yehuda Maccabee. Yehuda Maccabee, in the meantime, put soldiers all over to watch where is it coming. When they realize that Liaz, the minister of defense, going to come and try to attack Jerusalem through the Judean desert, Okay, he brought most of his army, except few that he left in Jerusalem, few that he left in Bet Haron, on a coastline. All the major people that he had was waiting mountain of Judean desert and start climbing up the Judean desert. They attacked Judah a Maccabee, given the permission to start to attack. And they surprised Liaz, and they killed him and all of those that was with him. And that's how Judah Maccabee actually chased the great empire after 180 years. They control Eretz Israel, and now the next thing that he had is to clear the temple. When they arrive in a temple, first of all, they get rid of all the pagan, all the altar that they used to worship. They needed to build a new altar, because the old altar they couldn't use because they sacrifice non-kosher animals. They decide that they're going to build a new altar. That's the first thing that happened. After that, when they arrive inside the temple, they have to light the menorah. They have to light, but they couldn't find oil to light the menorah, because all the oil, they used to light the menorah with olive oil, all of the oil being contaminated. While they were searching, they find a small jar that's sealed with a stamp of the holy priest, the highly priest, that no one touched it. And they realized that that oil can light the menorah only for one day, for 24 hours. What did they decide to do? They decide that they're going to light the menorah. And if it's for one day, it's for one day. And in the meantime, they're going to send people to the north of Israel, where there is olive tree, and they're going to get the tree and they're going to bring the olive oil from there. It took 3 days from Jerusalem to the north, 3 days back, it's 6 days. It took 1 day to prepare the olive oil that's going to be enough to light the menorah, at least for a week. And that's what they decide to do. Yehuda Maccabee decided that that's it. He's going to light the menorah, and the menorah days, that was the miracle, until they received the new oil. And with that, that's basically, very briefly, the story of Chanukah. But we have to understand a few things, and that's the next part of the show. First of all, I would like to explain why did they call it Chanukah. So there is different interpretation why it's called Chanukah. Why do they call it Chanukah? So we have to understand that one of the ideas is that if we take the word Chanukah and we split it to two, we get the word Hanu and Kafhei. What does it mean? Hanu is resh. Kafhei, that means that the Jewish people rest from the enemy, that's the Greek Empire, on a 25th of Kislev. And that's when we're starting to celebrate on a 20th, that's this month, on a 25th interpretation. The another interpretation that it's called Chanukah, Milshon Chanukat HaMizbeach. That means that on the 25th of the month of Kislev, the Jewish months that call Kislev, they've been inaugurate a new altar that they can start sacrificing kosher animal in Bet HaMikdash. That's two opinions. But there is a famous question that all the Mefarshim, they say, and they ask like this: the festival of Hanukkah is for 8 days. We lighting candle. And how do we start lighting the candle? We start on the first day, 1 candle, the second day, 2 candles, the third day, 3 candles, and etc. Many of the commentary ask, I don't understand. The miracle happened that the oil, the jar of oil that was supposed to last for 1 day, lost it for 8 days. So how come we're celebrating 8 days? We should celebrate only 7 days, because the jar that they found was enough for 1 day. So why are we celebrating 8 days? That's a very famous question that many of the Mefarshim ask. One of the answers that the commentary bring is like this. First of all, let's go to the history of the Greek. What did they want from the Jew? The Jew that lived in Eretz Israel been put by 3 decrees. And the decree was that, number 1, that they should not keep they don't keep. Number 2, that should not purity of the family, that women cannot go to the mikvah. Said the Mefarshim like this: now that the Jewish people don't have that decree anymore, okay, what's going to happen? The Jewish people now can celebrate and can do Brit Milah to their kids whenever they want. Therefore, they decide that the festival is going to be the 8th day. Why? Because the Brit Milah, the child that's born in Jewish religion, if he's healthy, we do the Brit Milah, that's the circumcision, on the 8 days. Say Hazal, that's one of the reasons why we're celebrating 8 days. Another interpretation that brought by the Maran Bet Yosef. Maran Bet Yosef is Rabbi Yosef Karo. Rabbi Yosef Karo, born in the city of Toledo in Spain 535 years ago. And he explained like this. And he said that it took 1 day to make the oil, 3 days to go to the north, and 3 days to return. We say it took 7 days. He said in that case, plus the 1 day. So we should celebrate for 8 days. That's to another stage. We know that we have Torah shebe'al peh and Torah shebechtav. Where is it hint to us in our written Torah that's going to be the festival of Hanukkah? Where are we going to see it? Where are we going to see that the Torah actually is speaking about Hanukkah? So the commentary explains something extraordinary. They say if you take the book of Bereshit called Genesis, if you count 25 words, the 25th word's going to be light. And there it says, Vayir'eh Elokim et ha'or, and the Almighty saw the light. Said the Mefarshim, what's the Hidush? The Hidush is what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu that created the world. He created light, he created darkness. What? He didn't see the light. No, it's come to tell you something. HaKadosh Baruch Hu here hinting to us that on a 25th letters, that means on the 25th of the month of Kislev, going to happen a miracle to the Jewish people, that they will light the menorah, that bring light in Bet HaMikdash, in the temple. And that's where is the hint, that on the 25th of Kislev, that's a Jewish month, that usually fall on December, that's when we light the light of the menorah. Why? Now we have to explain why do we light every day one candle, on the second day two candles? Why we don't light on the first day 8 candles and then we go backwards? On the second day 7, on the third day we're gonna drop it to 6, and etc. Why are we going from 1 to 8 and not from 8 to 1? Why after that sequence? The Mefarshim Rabotai explains something very interesting. And I think that's the message for us for Chanukah. Chanukah is a festival that speaks about miracle. Chanukah is a festival that it's all surround about light and miracle to us. What's the Hidush here? Listen to that. We have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Matityahu and his kids and the Hashmonaim, that what they call them, the Maccabi, to do their personal efforts, to start the war. Now, Rabotai, let's just put things in proportion. The Greek Empire that was in control of Eretz Israel and most of the world was like United States of America. Can you imagine 17 people can win a machine war like this? There's no chance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted them to start. The rest, leave it to me. You're going to put your first personal effort. You're going to start the coup. You're going to start the war. The rest, leave it to me. That is the message here. What does it have to do with the numbers? That in life, every Jew, every person have challenges. You have to fight the evil inclination that he have in himself. Each one of us have a different desire. Each one of us have a different evil inclination that we have to fight. The lighting of the candle come to teach us the first thing that you have to do is to pass the first challenge. The second thing that you have to do, that the challenge not going to stop there. The evil inclination not going to stop there. It's going to be more challenges and more challenges. It's come to teach us that you have to understand that in life you have number 7 that represent the nature. And when you manage to overcome all of those challenges, you're going to get to number 8, above nature. Number 8 represent above nature, everything above nature. And when you reach to that kind of a faith and kind of a munah that everything is in the hand of the Almighty, the hand of the Creator, He can change everything. That is the message here. That we have to try to start, first of all, step by step. Start your own personal efforts. What we say in Hebrew, ishtadlut atzmit. Everyone has to start somewhere. And that's why we're lighting on the first night one candle. To tell us that we have to start somewhere. You can't start, but if you start from the top, you're going to collapse. We have to understand that it's going to be a war that not always we're going to win. But we have to do our personal efforts. Sometimes we're going to win, sometimes we're going to lose. But the message here is not to give up. The message here is very clearly not to give up. One of the beautiful things that we have in Chanukah is eating sufganiyot. Sufganiyot, it's what we call in English donuts. Why the custom is to eat sufganiyot? What's so special about it that they constitute for us to eat sufganiyot? What's hiding behind it? What's hiding behind that custom that we have to eat donuts? explains something extraordinary. The Mefarshim said of Chanukah. What was the main miracle of Chanukah, if you ask yourself? The Mefarshim explained that the main miracle of Chanukah was with oil. The Chanukah miracle was with oil. And because it was with oil, we have to eat food that cook by oil. And that's why we eat donuts, okay? And we eat latkes. Latkes, it's also a donut that make from potatoes. And they all cook with oil. That's why in Hanukkah, the custom is, it's not a halacha, it's not a law, just a custom, that we eat, okay, food that been cooked with oil, just for general knowledge. But Rabotai, I would like to move now to a different stage to understand what's happening here, and a bit more depth for us to understand. The festival of Hanukkah is all about light. In a time of the Greek Empire, for 180 years, it was darkness in a Jewish life. People was risking their life by doing Brit Milah. Many people being caught and being killed. Okay, many people that keep Taharat HaMishpacha been killed. One of the famous story is with Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rabbi that wrote for us the oral Torah. When Rabbi born, his father decided on the 8th day he gonna make a Brit Milah to his son against the Greek Empire. No matter what. He gonna make a Brit Milah to his son. Rabbi lived in Tzipori. Tzipori is just above Tiberias. Okay? And was there people that tell the Greek Empire that Rabbi been circumcised, and they call his father to bring him to the Caesar. On the way to the Caesar, they walked him and his wife and the newly born baby. When they arrived in the palace, the wife of the Caesar saw the mother of Rabbi, and she knew her. They knew each other. She said to her, "What are you doing here?" She said, "We've been called to your husband because my son been circumcised." He said, "Give me your son. I have a birth on the same time of you. We have the same child. You take my son, and I will take your son. And when you finish with the Caesar, we'll swap it." There was good friend, the two women. She given her Rebbe, and she took her son. Her son being called Antoninos. And when they walked to the Caesar, they looked at the child, and the Caesar said to the father of Rebbe, "Listen, I heard that you circumcised your son." The father didn't want to lie. He said, "You look for it for yourself. You decide by yourself. I'm not going to say a word." And they opened his nappies, and the Caesar looked, and he see that that child is uncircumcised. He said, "They told me that you're circumcised. I don't know who." So the father said, "I don't know who told you. I can show you what I have." Anyway, the Caesar decide that person that said that the child being circumcised, they're going to hang him. That person being killed. Anyway, he released them. When they gone out, they pass again in the passage. The woman, the Caesar queen, waited for the mother of Rabbi, and she given her baby, and she took her baby. And that's how the Jewish people, and that's how Rabbi been survived. What does it come to teach us, Rabotai? Little bit of the darkness can get rid of, little bit of light can get rid of a lot of darkness. In our life, sometimes we have time that's full of darkness. And I want to link it to what's happened on the 7th of October this year. And the 7th of October, as you all know, was Hag Simchat Torah, the festival of Simchat Torah, when the terrorist group of Hamas, you call them ISIS, you call them Nazis, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, attacked innocent people in the south, killed, raped, burned, slaughtered babies, elderlies, with not even having a conscience of what the 7th of October remember in Jewish history, very dark day in our history. That came after that. Baruch Hashem, the Israeli Defense Force from defending going to attack. And Be'ezrat Hashem, please God, that they're going to get rid of that terrorist organization that called Hamas, ISIS, whatever you want to call them, the Islamic Jihad that there is there in Gaza. But the world doesn't understand. The world doesn't understand that the job that the Israeli defense doing, it's actually in favor for all the world. To get rid of people, I can't call them even people, they're savages. Get rid of evilness from the world. The festival of Chanukah shows us miracle. We as Jewish people have to believe in miracle. Miracle happen. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty, wants us to do the first step, and then He'll do miracle for us. Every person gets signed somewhere along the line, and he sees miracle in his life. If I ask everyone, tell me about sign or miracle that you saw in your life, everyone will tell me a story. There is no such thing that there is no story. But we have to remember that the festival of Chanukah, it's all about miracle. It's all about miracle. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty, wants us to do the first step. That means to do our personal effort, to put the step forward, and then He will continue. That's what is the festival of Chanukah tried to tell us. And we as Jewish people that believe, the Jewish people lived over 5,784 years. That's the day of the creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never left the Jewish people. We are the chosen people, but we have to be the light to the nation. People will look at us if we're going to light the nation. When we behave like we behaved before the 7th of October, that when we have an argument, we was separated one from each other. We was ununited. Argument for no reason. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to unite us somehow. Our job is to be a light to the nation. That's what we hear on this earth. Our job is to be the light that's going to get rid of the darkness in the world. Our job is to be united. Only with the strength of unity and peace in harmony, we can light this world. We cannot be light to the nation if we are separated, if we have arguments amongst us. Our job in this life is to worship the Almighty as a Jew. That's the first obligation that we have as every Jew, to light the nation by that we serving the Almighty, by that we united, we live in peace with one and each other. We loving every human being. We have a mitzvah on the Torah, ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. That's a mitzvah in Sefer Vayikra. That means that you should love your fellow friend the same like you love yourself. I don't have to agree with his opinion. Again, I'm saying, and I say it all the time, but I have to respect him. If we respect each other, and we honor each other, and we live in unity and peace, one week. That's what the master of we can be to the light. To the Chanukah, it's about light. How are we going to light the world? By that we show that we are the chosen people. How we can be the chosen people, Rabotai? By that we, number one, have to live in peace and harmony with each other. No fighting, no argument. I don't have to agree with someone's opinion, but I have to respect him. By that we live in peace and harmony, we show the rest of the world how they should live. Nachon, that if people come to kill you, you have to stand and kill them. You can't sit and wait for other people to come and kill you. Our Torah doesn't teach us that. Our Torah doesn't tell us to go and fight, but our Torah tells us that you have to defend yourself. And if people come to kill you, you're obligated to defend yourself. And that's what we're doing. We're not killing innocent people. We are killing terrorists. By that we have to say to ourselves that we are light to the nation, and we're going to get rid of a lot of darkness. Our light is going to get rid of a lot of darkness. I know that we're the minority in the world, but our light is too strong to light the world. That's the message of Hanukkah. Be'ezrat Hashem, on the next Sunday, I'm going to speak about the secret of the light, that hiding behind the menorah.